Hi, welcome to the kitchen here at Raggedy Hen Farm. We're going to talk about biscuits today, kind of go over some biscuit basics, and we're going to make this so easy that you will have fluffy, no-fail biscuits every time. Let's get started. When Terry and I created the mixes that we offer through Raggedy Hen Farm, we were going for comfort foods that are not only good and healthy to eat, but they're actually a pleasure and they feed our souls as well. So one of the things that we make a lot of around here are biscuits, just fluffy biscuits covered in butter, honey, jam, and our whole wheat biscuit mix kind of takes out the bad for you white flour, puts in some good stuff, and all you have to do is add water and you've got wonderful biscuits. So I'm going to show you how to make them, but along the way I'm going to offer you some tips about how to make great biscuits every single time. Okay, this is my pastry cloth and I love this. You do not have to have one. You can find them at specialty kitchen stores. It's just basically a nice big thick piece of cotton, and I wash it every so often. I love it, but you can do it on a counter or you can do it on a cutting board. It doesn't matter. Okay, we're going to put down a little bit of flour, and if you're doing this on your counter or a cutting board, same thing, just a little bit of flour, not very much. I'm using the same whole wheat pastry flour that goes into the mix, but you don't have to do that if you don't have that at home. Okay, this is what the mix looks like. It comes in these bags, and you've got enough for maybe 2.5 to 3 dozen biscuits, depending on how big you make your biscuits. But we are going to add 2.5 cups of mix to our bowl, and you don't have to be super exact. I'll do it kind of in the fancy cooking show way where you make sure that it's flat, but it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. If you have a little too much or a little too little, you're going to add your water and it's going to all work out and be just fine. There's 2 cups and 1/2 cup. And everything that you need for the biscuits other than the moisture is already in here. And we get our flour, we actually source it locally from Camas Country, which is a mill. They're actually like an old-fashioned artisan stone mill, and they're here in Eugene. And it's organic, it's local, it doesn't come very far to get to us, and it's what we use to make the biscuits. Okay, so I've got 2.5 cups of mix in here, and I'm going to add about 2/3 of a cup of water. And I'd say about, which I know makes some people absolutely crazy because they want exact measurements, but you know, it kind of depends. What if you added a little bit of extra? What if you didn't add very much? What if it's a really humid day? But so you're going to mix this up, and I want you to see what it looks like. It's kind of a wet dough, and we are not going to over stir it, because we're not mixing it and beating it in. This isn't like a beaten biscuit. And because in the mix there are things like salt and baking powder that actually serve as leavenings, you're going to notice it gets a little bit spongy, and that is just about perfect for a nice biscuit mix. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of this on my hands because it will get a little sticky if I don't. And we are going to go ahead and just scoop this out on our cloth. It could go on your counter again. Don't worry about it. You don't have to have all the fancy tools to make this happen. And you'll notice I have my rolling pin out here, but you actually don't even really need it. If you happen to make your dough too stiff and you want to, you can use the rolling pin, but here's what I do. I just kind of pat it out so it's nice and thick. Add a little bit of flour if it's too sticky. And you want it, don't roll it too thin, otherwise you have these little hard crackers more than a biscuit. But you can see that it is about maybe 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. And that is what it's going to look like, and then we're going to cut it. Okay, we're going to move this stuff out of the way because I have a little counter. Okie dokie. If for some reason you want to use a rolling pin, you can. This is my rolling pin. It's marble. My great-grandmother gave this to me when I was 19 years old, and it used to actually have handles on it. I think those have been gone since I was 20. And I like to use what's called a pastry sock, and you can actually buy this when you buy these, and it's just basically, it looks like a sock. You could use a cotton sock if you wanted to, and it fits right over here. A little bit of flour, and it works really awesome because nothing sticks to it, and it makes things nice and smooth. But it doesn't matter. It's whatever your preference is. Terry has a wooden one that she loves and insists upon using, so in the drawer, mine sits there and hers sits there. All right, we're going to give these a cut. These are my circle cutters. Again, you do not have to have these. I think I bought these when I was 43 years old, so I spent years and years and years using a simple milk glass to cut my biscuits with, and all you would have to do for these, either way, a little flour keeps things from sticking. Dust it in there. Use it like this. So simple. But I like to use these because it took me 43 years to get them, and now I feel much fancier when I use them. Cutting my biscuits. And you can see, oopsie, I smushed it. Doesn't matter. It's all going to get pushed back together, and nobody will ever know. I'm going to make the best of it. And after we cut out all of these biscuits, they're going to go on a baking sheet. And when I was getting ready today, I was thinking about my sad little baking sheet, and I thought, you know what? I'm not going to feel bad about the fact that this is a very well-used baking sheet. You know, you watch the cooking shows and they have these brand new, shiny, beautiful cooking sheets that have never been used. And I actually read an article once that said the more used these are and the more dark they get, the more even the heating is. So no pan shame. Yay for used biscuits, biscuit pans. Okay. Now, there are those who believe that you should put your biscuits really close together so that they're touching. I don't necessarily subscribe to that because I want them to heat evenly and rise all the way around. Oh, there's another one I got smushy. I'm going to mix that in when I mix the dough back in. Okay, so we're taking all this extra dough. Let's move this baby over here. And we're just smushing it together. Don't over mix it. A little more flour if you need it. Pat it down. Now, if you are not using our mix and you are making your biscuits from scratch, this same thing. You want a nice soft dough that's barely kind of coming together in a moisty way. And you want to not make it too flat, not work it too much, because that's how you get those hard cracker biscuits, as opposed to ones that are light and flaky. And I think I can probably get 2 more biscuits. Oh no! Okay, we've got our biscuits ready to go into the oven, and I have preheated that oven to 450 degrees, which is a pretty hot oven, but these don't take very long to bake. And you'll see my biscuits, they're not perfect. They don't have to be perfect. You know, like some of them are a little smushy, and I tried to drop some of them. I didn't, just so you know, I didn't. But depending on the size of the cutter or the glass that you use, you're going to get a dozen to maybe 15 for that 2.5 cups mix that you add the water to. Now, if you wanted to, and it is super easy, you could make these a little fancier, add some flavor to them. You could put some Parmesan cheese, some Asiago cheese, you could put some garlic or a little bit of onion and parsley and herbs in there, and then you could have a little fancy savory biscuit if you wanted to. You can also make a shortcake out of these, and we have used it to top cobbler. We've added a little sugar into the dough and then cut them out like this, or just sort of plopped them on the top, and they work great for a cobbler. And again, you've got the whole wheat flour as opposed to white flour, which is not so great for you. So you've got all these really good stuff in there, and it makes it a little healthier, but you still have the tasty comfort. All right, let's put these in the oven. Okay, we're going to pop these in our 450 degree oven, and I've got it set on the second rack down. Just going to slide it in there. And now we're going to get our jam and our honey and our butter ready, because that's what we're going to want to have on these when they come out all hot and fresh. but I use an ungreased sheet, which is perfect. You don't need to grease your baking sheet. Just plop them all on there, an ungreased one. These on my little plate. Oops, look at that, it's so perfect and brown on the back side. Yum. Alrighty, now butter and honey. This is some of the honey from our bees. This morning I'm going to have it with blueberry jam. Blueberry is my favorite of the jams that we make. I don't know why. I think it's because I grew up with either grape jelly or apple butter or blackberry jam. And we make a blackberry jam too from blackberries that we harvest in the wild. But for me, blueberry is just sort of decadent and a little bit fancy. So I'm going to have some. Oh my god. Yum. It's still warm. So the blueberries get kind of warm and melt over it. This is how easy it is to make biscuits. You could have these with biscuits and gravy. You can have them with jam, butter, honey. Or you can just have them, just take them cold and put a little sliced ham and cheese in them and use them for a sandwich. So this is how easy it is to make whole wheat biscuits from our whole wheat biscuit mix. Thank you so much for stopping by today and letting me share some biscuit basics with you. If you want to know more about Raggedy Hen Farm and the shenanigans that we get up to here, look us up on the web, www.raggedyhenfarm.com. We've also got a blog on there. And I will see you next time here at the crossroads of urban and farm. Thanks a lot. Bye.